Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I have finally started to watch, to play Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright again, because I don't really know why I quit earlier, other than me being lazy. Because these games are fun, don't get me wrong. Alright, I'll install the update, but okay, these games are fun. It's just that they're kind of, I don't know, thinking intensive, and I mean, okay, you think all the time, but it's like, you know, it's something you have. Now, I'm an idiot, so it's hard for me to explain this, or I'm having a mild stroke, which, understandable either way, but what I'm trying to say is that, these games, they make you think. You have to really, consider a lot of things. You're going through the cross-examination and trying your best to come up with a conclusion, you know, a contradiction, and it's not always easy. So sometimes it's fun to, well, not really fun, but sometimes it's optimal to take a break for a while. I won, ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but you know, it's sort of yeah, it's yeah, it can be difficult, and sometimes difficult things deserve a rest. I mean, you get better with practice, but sometimes if you just rest for like a few days, then yeah. However, I probably won't take a break for an interval of 3 or 4 days like I did before ever again, because it's kind of stupid. Why'd we beef? I honestly don't remember. I think it was just for the lulz, I guess. Whatever you want to say. Alright then, so just, we're getting pretty close to, alright then, finish. Okay, so we're done with that, and, time to play some Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. There we go. Again, I'm not gonna take a break for as long as I did in the past, because that was just irresponsible of me. I mean, again, so sometimes you just need a break from things, but I think maybe a day or two was all I needed. I didn't need to wait 3 to 4 days, but you know, we learn from our mistakes, and I'll just never do that again. Alright. Now, my screen keeps flashing, but that's happened before, so I don't think it means anything. I just, yeah. Now loading file 1. Alright, epic. Yep. I don't think I need a recap. Even though it's been 3 to 4 days, I have a good enough idea of what happened. I don't need a recap. Now then, Miss Kira, tell me, at the time of the incident, were you wearing your glasses? No, I was not wearing them. The truth is, I lost my glasses a couple of days ago. My God. Yeah. As I said last time, Kira is Japanese for killer, so I think that might be some foreshadowing here. Maybe not. So her glasses were missing during the time of the incident. Mr. Wright, might I recommend that you keep note of this fact? It could prove useful later. Got it. Glasses. Kira has poor eyesight and wears glasses, but she lost them a few days before the incident. Glasses added to the court record. Nice. Am I to believe there is nothing left to prove on this matter? At the time of the murder, the accused did not have a witch's scepter in her possession. Again, for a medieval-style judge, he's being pretty accepting. Yeah. But it's not really confirmed what this dimension really is, or where it takes place, or when it takes place, but it's clearly based off medieval law and stuff like that, so again, he's being pretty kind for a judge in like the Middle Ages would be. I don't know. It's 9:05. I'm gonna say a bunch of stupid stuff. Yeah. Wait just a moment. Snowy and I have more left to say. That's right. My trusty sword of justice shall cut through the witch's treacherous lies. I may have lost my glasses, but I haven't lost my will to testify. Your will to live would be nice. Okay, that was mean, but, Yeah. Eureka! I remember now. Old age has a way of sneaking up on me. I'm sure you must understand. Yeah, I understand. I understand you're all completely ridiculous. It would seem we have not arrived at a clear-cut verdict. Yeah, unfortunately. Onision sued Chris Hansen. We'll see how that turns out for him. I doubt it'll go that well. Witness, you may once again begin to testify to the court. Tell us about the scepter and how it was used in the detestable display of witchcraft that you all witnessed tonight. Should probably share this with Harper, or not Harper. That was his old name. Now it's George Costanza. So in case he wants to watch, I'll share this with him because he's actually the guy who got me into Ace Attorney. He introduced me to the game, and at first, to be honest, I wasn't completely into it. I mean, it was fun when I played it, but it wasn't something I was like willing to do every day. But I don't know, when around the time I got to Case 4, I think I played it pretty much every day at that point in time, and so he kind of got me hooked, and I thank him for that. So it would probably be good to share this with him. Again, I speak like I'm on drugs naturally. I don't really know why. I don't know. Maybe it's the anxiety of streaming, but I like stutter my words at every opportune moment. Not really an opportune moment. All right. All right. Here we go. Just sharing it with him. I'll continue this. It's a civil case. Yeah. Civil. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know the difference between a civil and a criminal case. But I don't know. I think in Onision's situation, it would probably be better if it was a criminal case, or worse. I don't know. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I just play lawyer games. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand? The thing about the court illustration is that, no offense to the game developers, but you sort of get the impression that they couldn't really make do without having some sort of picture to show as evidence, so instead of having a photograph, they replaced it with a really, really good drawing. And I don't know, so sometimes when you're setting stuff, like way back when, you have to come up with creative solutions to things that didn't exist back then. And obviously you couldn't just take a picture. That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it. She could have easily held the scepter as well. Snowy couldn't have carried the bucket. No, I don't mean to doubt your goat's abilities, but I really don't think she could have held the bucket. I just watched Flashing Lights today. Maybe I had a stroke. That's why I can't speak right. Jesus. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just tired. I don't know, but I'm stumbling over my words like crazy. Yeah, I'm never gonna watch a potentially triggering video again. I mean, I don't think I have epilepsy. But just in case I do, I don't want to have a stroke, because I think I've already had one. I did not see this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion. The scepter was in her other hand, you say? Indeed, such a proposal is feasible. Usually you don't have like a phrase this long highlighted in red. This must be really important. Sir Baker. Yes, Your Honor? It is the strangest thing. The longer this trial goes on, the more you begin to resemble a legitimate defender. Well, again, this is medieval law. It doesn't really matter who defends. It's not like law school exists or anything. I could defend someone in medieval law. I'd probably get them arrested, but I could. Huh? Well, that's because he used to be a lawyer. Well, no matter. Defender, you may begin your interrogation. Yeah. Interrogation. They use more blunt terms in the Middle Ages because it was just that bad back then. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in the other hand. All right, I'm just gonna press on everything. That's the best way to go, it seems. But did you actually see that with your own eyes? That's basically how you do it in every game, to be honest. Just press every single thing until you eventually find some new information, or until you eventually come up with a contradiction. Alas, magic's vile embrace hid the scepter from my sight, so I did not see it per se. However, through my years of knightly training, I have learned to see through such cunning trickery. So an interesting fact is that the guy who created Professor Layton said that when he created Layton, he took the positive elements of Phoenix Wright and just applied them to Layton and sort of ignored all the bad ones. Which, the thing about Phoenix is that what makes him so endearing of a character is the bad traits. I mean, his contradictions, he comes up with them with gut instinct. I mean, he's cynical, sarcastic, and sassy, and kind of a dork. But the thing is that all these negative traits make him more relatable and more real, and that's why we like him. But Professor Layton is like, the good traits of Phoenix. He's intelligent, he's a good puzzle solver, he can get the job done, but it kind of glosses over the bad stuff because Professor Layton's just sort of Phoenix with the power of 10 or something like that. I don't know, but it's understandable the way he did that, because that is sort of the way it is, Is that so? For example, this morning I found myself unable to locate the whereabouts of my trusty blade. Its location was a mystery. So I tried my hardest to think and remember before I would have kept it last, and before long, behold, it transpired. I was carrying my trusty blade in its scabbard all along. Life is riddled with such trickery. The Supreme Court is seeing if OK Boomer is discrimination. I don't really discuss issues like that because I don't want to start controversy. But to be honest, if OK Boomer is being considered discrimination and something that should actually be punishable by law, I honestly think that society is really taking a toll. I mean, again, not trying to speak on the issue of discrimination or stuff like that. That's something I don't really think a kid in 9th grade really deserves to talk about and give my opinion to. I'm really in no position to lecture anyone on anything. You can hold your own opinions, but I do definitely think that if a joke is being considered punishable, then you really need to consider what real issues are, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, of course. I really probably shouldn't have gone on this mini rant in the first place. Would you say life is riddled with trickery, Nick? It kind of is. Only if we're talking about my life, Maya. You see what I mean? He's kind of a grumpy guy, but that's why you like him. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand? Well, agreed, yeah.
Hold it!
The court illustration? That's right. Judging by the sketch alone, it does look possible for her to have held the scepter. However, if you actually try holding that thing, you'll notice just how thick it is. That's what she said. No way could she have been holding it.
Objection!
That is nothing more than mere speculation. You cannot say for certain that she was unable to hold it. You say speculation? I say it's a fact. There's just no way Espella could have been holding that thing. Also, apparently, and trust me, this isn't really a huge spoiler since it's in the title. Apparently, later on, Layton actually is Phoenix's rival. I'm not sure if they're both enemies throughout the course of the game, or if they're just at ends with each other in court. Because Edgeworth and Phoenix are both best friends, but they're enemies in court, where in real life they're friends. So I wonder if it's just going to be an issue where, Layton and Wright are friendly, but when it comes to court, they're just sort of rivals because that's how the court system works. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it would make sense if they were just rivals in general, hence the title. I mean, because so far they've been pretty friendly with each other, but the title is Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, so, you know, you kind of expect them to come at odds with each other at some point, so I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. As expected, the testimony is filled with nothing but assumptions and conjecture. Yeah. Well, Layton's also kind of a... Well, Layton, from what I've seen, is a pretty kind and intelligent guy, but when he really wants to, he can be pretty savage. If you've ever watched either of the Willy Wonka movies, particularly the first one, Willy Wonka is like a good guy at heart, but he's pretty savage. I mean, when people are like about to walk away, he's all like, "Stop! Don't come back." He has that really sarcastic tone because he honestly just does not care whatsoever. And again, endearing character trait because he's flawed. Mr. Layton. You know, Mr. Wright, there does not appear to be any usable evidence present in the court illustration. Well, I mean, that's just dandy, isn't it? Yeah, I agree. It does look that way. The milk bucket ended up disappearing from the scene. I always wondered what... I always wondered what it was like to actually be a lawyer in court. You know, like to have all this evidence go coming at odds with your evidence. I mean, you know, it might not be fun to look at, but I almost get the feeling that although court appears boring to the outside, there are probably some lawyers who, in their own mind, are actually really having fun coming up with, well, not really coming up with things. I mean, the games in real life are very different, but actually finding ways that they can help their clients. You know, it is probably something fun to some people. I don't know. It's a weird thought, but it's a thought nonetheless. Could that actually be an important piece of evidence in itself? What? The milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. Okay. I did not see this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion. Alright, so he's not important. The witnesses' testimonies are relying on pure speculation this time. That means that there has to be a hole in there somewhere. We've got Inquisitor Barnum sweating bullets in that armor of his. I'd say he's about ready to throw it all off. I'm not even going to begin to tell you what's wrong with that statement, Maya. Yeah, also something I like is the dynamic between Phoenix and Maya. Maya pretty much does nothing but annoy Phoenix, yet at the same time they're best friends. And I think it's probably because they're like a comedic duo almost. I mean, they play off of each other. But, I don't know. What I find even funnier, though, is that they don't, like, play off of each other in the sense that they come at ends with each other. Maya, like, it combats Phoenix's remarks, but she does it in a Maya way, in the sense that it's not really a good comeback, but it's like cute and funny and stuff. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I kind of like the fact that they're not just like really friendly, and they actually kind of are at ends with each other at times, but it's all in good fun. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just praising these games in any way I can because they do deserve the praise. Trust me. Alright, case outline. Accused, Aspella... Yeah, alright. I'm pretty sure I know that well enough already. Lantern. The lantern Aspella was holding, the glass is broken and is covered in mud. Delia Magica. A magic scepter needed to cast spells. The available spells depend on the magic gems. Glasses. Kira has poor eyesight and wears glasses, but she lost them a few days before the incident. Alright, I guess I'll just go through and try to find some sort of contradiction. I honestly don't think pressing's going to get us much anywhere. Much of... I don't know what I'm saying. It's really not going to get us many places. That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. I think the contradiction lies here, but I'm not really sure what to... Yeah. A magic scepter needs to cast spells. The available spell... I'll present this. Alright, nope. And I don't think I have any hints I can use. Alright, so this is a good time to save in case I do something really, really stupid. Yeah. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't holding the scepter in that hand? I mean...
Objection!
Penalty? Penalty. I like when they're on the same page. If only there was a magic spell for objections. That'd be a really lame spell, Nick. Yeah. Again, this guy is really of no use, so I'm not even gonna... I'm not gonna even read that anymore, honestly. He's of no use, again. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand. Right, so, I think the point that they're making is that, although she was holding a milk bucket, it still wouldn't have been that hard to have held the scepter as well. But there has to be some sort of, Would the Grand Grimoire do anything to help? Ignae's Inferno spell summons a circle of flame within a 1 meter radius of the caster. Requires an incantation and scepter to cast. Vanishing spell causes anything the caster touches to vanish from sight. Simply chant a mirror to make it reappear. And again, I don't think I have any... Yeah. Can't, Well, let me look at the profiles, actually. I just want to see the profiles. The defendant accused of the... Yeah. I see. Passionately becoming a knight, currently unemployed. Yeah. I think he's going to be unemployed for a very long time, to be honest. A witness, owner of a farm near the market, seems to have a fixation with goat's milk. That's disgusting. A witness, flower girl, who usually wears glasses, but lost them somewhere. Yeah. I'm not really sure if the glasses are helping that much. A witness, mysterious old guy, totally detached from reality. Probably high, currently. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't holding the scepter in that hand? That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. Okay, I don't know where the contradiction lies. I mean... Yeah, again, this guy does not matter. That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. And I would use, like, a guide or something, but I sort of feel as if that... Well, okay, it is cheating. And that's really the reason why I'm not going to use it, is because no matter how hard it is, it's always satisfying to actually come up with the conclusion yourself. The accused is holding a milk... Excuse me. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand? The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand. Again, it's... Hold on. What was the thing I pressed to where they talked about something possibly being the contradiction itself. As expected, this testimony is filled with nothing but assumptions and conjecture. Again, Layton can be a savage if he really wants to, and right now he's being savage. You know, Mr. Wright, there does not appear to be any use... Again, they said something about... Yeah, I agree, it does look that way. The milk bucket ended up disappearing from the scene. Could that actually be an important piece of evidence in itself? So the milk bucket disappearing and important... That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. Maybe he was actually useful after all. I'm not sure right now. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand? I'm gonna take a wild guess and assume I need to present this. And that was a wild guess. Well, we're screwed. Yeah, I'm just going to skip by all this because it's honestly a waste of time. The court sees no reason to further continue this trial. The real identity of the accused has been thoroughly proven. Accused. As such, the court finds the accused, Miss Espella Cantabella, guilty. Your kind is a pox upon our land, and for that you must be sent to the fire. Detestable creature of magic, may the flames purge you from this earth. Are they going to show me it? No. Right. Restart trial, load save data, return to the title screen. Yeah. It's nice they give me the option to restart the trial, though I'm not really sure why anyone would want to do that. Again, there's really no reason to read through that. I know exactly what I'm doing. Well, I don't know what I'm doing, but what? Alright. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand. Okay. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand? That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. Alright, I don't think I pressed this. Just 1 second, Miss Mary. What is it now? Snowy and I don't have all night, you know. Come on then, out with it. I just have one question regarding your testimony. How exactly did you know that the bucket Miss Cantabella was carrying was light enough for Snowy to carry? Huh? Well, you see, the girl always uses the same bucket whenever she comes to buy milk from us. Naturally, I would have seen that bucket countless times before. You've seen it countless times before? That doesn't answer my question. You specified that the bucket is lighter than it looks. Miss Mary, at some point tonight you must have held that bucket yourself. Or even before tonight. Oh, now then, please enlighten us as to exactly when you got your hands on that bucket. Alright, now I'm going to press everything because it does actually feel like this, this is an important piece of evidence, because honestly, there's really nothing else to do but to just press everything right now. There's no discernible evidence. These people are kind of creepy. You know, it's just, yeah, it's true. By that time, Robs and mugs had already been burnt to ash. And then, I noticed the milk in that bucket that the girl had been holding in her hand. The milk? Oh, maybe it wasn't milk. I'm not gonna follow up on that joke. Then, when those two went up in a blaze, Snowy and I made a dash for the bucket. As the girl stood there looking confused, we took the milk from her to make sure it was okay. Huh? Unbelievable. Witness, you tampered with evidence. Well, it was just so wasteful. The thought of all that disgusting ash falling into such precious milk. I felt I just had to protect the milk. So I took the bucket back to the farm with me. Madam, you mean to tell the court that you took evidence from a crime scene back home with you? Well, that explains why we were unable to locate the milk bucket at the scene, and why it's not even in the court record. Oh my, you're scaring poor Snowy. Here, I brought the bucket with me. Anyway, see? I didn't even tamper with the milk. I'm sure you didn't. Alright, yeah, I really should have pressed this. I'll be wiser next time. The court shall accept the milk bucket as evidence. Bucket of milk added to the court record. Alright, I'll press that weird guy who doesn't know what he's saying also, but, yeah. Looks like that's one more piece of evidence for us. Now, will the gentleman with the impressive beard proceed with his testimony? I think he is envious of his beard. Something I just noticed is that his hands are coming out of his beard. I actually don't think that's a mistake. I think that was actually intentional, but I'm not really sure why it was. I did not see this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion. Yeah, I doubt it. You didn't see the bucket. Indeed, naturally, there was no way of me noticing the witch before the crime occurred. My mind was placid as the most placid of placid lakes. But like the early bird on its morning hunt for that elusive worm, my senses remained vigilant. You do realize the other witnesses have all testified to having seen Miss Cantabella carrying that bucket, though. And when you have journeyed as far as I have through life, you find all is but an illusion. That is, except for Lord Storyteller, of course. Yeah, I don't think he's useful. That's it for the testimony. Still, something is bound to be there. I can't believe Mary took the bucket home with her. Miss Mary must be one of those thieving forest wolves we've been hearing about. Let us hope she doesn't eat like a wolf as well, Luke, for her Snowy steak. You see, Layton's got jokes too. I've got this new piece of evidence, but the question is, how can I use it? You know, looking at this milk bucket now, it does look sort of different from the sketch, don't you think? It might be a good idea to get a nice, good look at the actual milk bucket, you know. Let's take a look at the milk bucket, shall we? The milk bucket Estelle was carrying at the time of the crime, Mary brought it to her. Yeah, there's no way she could have... Yeah. There's no way she could have held that and the scepter at the same time. Just... It doesn't look... I mean... It doesn't have the thing that's... What? It doesn't have the handle. Again, I am an idiot. I am an idiot, but... It doesn't have the handle that's detached from the entire bucket, so you can't... It's not easy to move that around. Like, usually, there's just enough space to where you can put your hand through that and hold a scepter at the same time, maybe, if you wanted to, if you're into that sort of thing. But, I mean, with that, it's like, it's so close to the actual bucket itself, and it's part of the wood. There's no room to be able to hold the bucket and the scepter at the same time. It's just impossible. And even if you were assuming that you were like holding it and the bucket in one hand and not actually having the bucket itself on, resting on your arm, it's like, well, first of all the milk would spill out, but second of all, that handle is so thick and painful. It's like you wouldn't hold those two at the same time. It's just it's impossible. Honestly, that might actually be a good that might actually be a good argument in a real courtroom. Instead of a video game, because it's like the logic behind it is absolutely impossible, improbable. It's absurd, unthinkable, because that pipe doesn't go to the marshmallow room; it goes to the fudge room. Yeah, Willy Wonka references. I have them. The scepter was not in her right hand with the lantern; therefore, it must have been in her other hand that was holding the bucket. He's just shaking his head in disappointment. Very, very disappointed. However, that's not it. Not by a long shot. Actually, this is what I heard, but, I'm not a lawyer. I wouldn't know this, but there's a scene in My Cousin Vinny, which is a 1992 movie. I saw it. It was pretty funny. It's also about a lawyer, and apparently, it's actually really, really accurate. A lawyer reacted to it, Legal Eagle, and he said he gave it a for accuracy, so it's actually a really accurate movie, and apparently that one scene where he says in the picture with all the bushes and the stuff on the screen and the trees. There's no way you could have seen the crime occurring, and that's actually, the muddied vision and stuff. It's actually a good argument in itself. And the reason why I bring this up is just the logic of being able to hold the bucket and the scepter at the same time is so impossible that I actually think that it might actually substitute as evidence in real life. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how these things play out, but I honestly think that they would actually accept that in a real courtroom. It's just so bizarre. But yeah. Anyways, contrary to what one of the witnesses stated, the milk bucket was in fact at the crime scene. And you'll also notice something about this bucket. Take another look at the court illustration. Something about this bucket seems a bit odd, wouldn't you say? This illustration was based on eyewitnesses' accounts, so a small discrepancy or two is conceivable. Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, if a drawing and real life don't align up perfectly, I mean, it's not exactly the worst thing in the world. However, the contradiction doesn't really lie with how it compares to the photo, but more about the logic of actually being able to hold the scepter and the bucket at the same time. Actually, Inquisitor Barnum, it's highly likely that this illustration is much less accurate than you think. In fact, there is a blatant contradiction present in this illustration. What is it? Oh, yeah. Admittedly, it does at first look possible that Miss Cantabella was holding the scepter and the bucket at the same time. However, if you look at the real milk bucket, that possibility goes up in smoke. Here, let's have a look at the real deal. Notice the handle again. Like, look at the sort of rope thing. She could easily, slide her hand through that and actually have it rest on her arm and hold the scepter at the same time, as I said. But here, it's like you wouldn't do that. It's like just look at that. There's no room, even for her thin as heck forearm. There's literally no way she'd be able to hold it there. I mean, it's ridiculous. That cannot be. Oh, it can be. Oh, but it is. Yeah, I think "oh, but it is" isn't exactly the best writing. I think he should have said "oh, but it can be." But this was translated from Japanese. I wouldn't expect the dialogue to be pitch perfect all the time, because some of the dialogue in these games is a bit campy, I guess you could say. But that's part of why we like it, is that it's not all completely played straight. Sort of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I guess. I mean, not everything is meant to be taken seriously, and that's part of the appeal of it. I don't know what I'm saying. Characters might say stuff that they would never say in real life, but it makes for good entertainment, and it builds sort of the world that Ace Attorney has built for itself, So, yeah. Again, I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm just sort of rambling on, but anyways. This particular milk bucket has two pieces of wood on either side of the handle. I'm not saying that the dialogue is bad, of course. The dialogue is really good. I'm just saying that it's not representative of how people would talk in real life, because they're not trying to imitate real life. They're trying to create their own world, really, and that's resembling real life. And, they do really good at that. But not really replicating real life, because that's not what they're trying to do. But anyways, if you were to try and hold both the scepter and this bucket, well, let's just say that'd be a challenge. To put it simply, there's no way anyone could hold both the bucket and the scepter at once. What? That must mean clearly you have the wrong bucket. You never lie when it comes to milk. That is the very bucket I took. Looks like the witnesses are surprised about this as Barnum. Yeah, she's just coming up with a way to have this. She's just coming up with a way to sell flowers. Really, the defendant could have been able to hold the bucket and the scepter at once. Also, we have already established that she was not holding a scepter in her right hand. Therefore, the defendant, Miss Isabella Cantabella, was not holding a witch's scepter at any point during the incident. Okay, an example of what I was talking about earlier with dialogue was in Trials and Tribulations, when Phoenix said, "I'll bring your magnificent justice to flirtation just as you wanted it." It's like, no one would ever say that in real life, but that's not the point. It's a great line of dialogue. It emotes a feeling. It's a really epic moment, but it's not epic because it's realistic. It's epic because it's just epic. I mean, There was a part where Winston Payne's hair just came off after a contradiction. Because again, these games are campy and zany and wild, and that's why they're good. Really. Order. I said order. Just what is the meaning of this? In all my days as a judge of this court, I have never heard such an argument. But at the same time, that's not to say it's all camp. There are plenty of serious moments. I mean, there are parts where I got really emotional when playing these games, especially when listening to the music back. It's just there's a lot of serious stuff, but that's not all of the appeal. About half of it comes. Well, I'd say like 75% of it comes from the campiness of it, and the other 25% comes from the heart of it, and the characters, and it's just yeah. I'd say they did a good job. Anyways, these are all but a paltry set of words, and yet they ring with such remarkable strength. Your Honor, Layton looks really large compared to Wright. Now that I'm thinking about it, his DS sprite, which I have seen his older sprites before, he wasn't quite as thick as he looks now. I think he's been eating a lot of bread since then. That reminds me of that one meme. How many breads have you eaten in your life? That's a JoJo meme. What you just heard was logic. Something this courtroom doesn't have a lot of. Logic, you say? What is it with these two? They just silenced Inquisitor Barnum with mere words. Such foolishness. This may be some type of witchcraft. Sticks and stones won't break my bones, but words will flip and kill me. Wait, do you think... Could they be witches? Oh my god, they're witches because they're smarter than you, yeah. Hey. Hi. Yeah. Okay, bye. Okay, whatever that was. I just realized that I have the fan on. That probably sounded bad, but the fact I was talking loud enough for him to come in means that I should probably just keep the fan on anyways. But yeah. It would seem the concept of logic does not exist in this world. Again, Layton is, you know what? You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna screenshot that. Layton's being pretty savage here. And I honestly can't, file, hold on. Load file, pause, configure, view, full screen. Hold on, tools. There we go. Capture screenshot. Desktop. Savage. Layton. Again, this is just something I can't let rest. There we go. I really don't know how Layton got so savage, but this is... Oh my god, what happened? What the... Well, the game crashed. That's not good. Crap, when did I... Hold on. Alright, I'll install the update again next. Alright, well, the game crashed. I think I saved... I don't know, I know what the, how to get back to where I was, but I do kind of wish I would have saved later than that. I don't... Yeah, I guess that's what you get when you screenshot a game, but, whatever. It's fine, I guess. Alright. Again, only like 30 seconds remaining, so it's not like, okay, well, more than that, but it won't take too long. I don't know why that happened, though. I mean, this always used to run really well, but nah, right now it's just, nope, we're gonna crash on you. And, that's, yeah. I guess it's not really one of my streams if I don't experience technical difficulties, is it? I mean, look back on my really old streams, and you'll see I always have difficulties. The old ones are just purely unwatchable. Here they're actually somewhat watchable. I'm not saying that they're watchable, because that is to be an idiot. I mean, they're not watchable, but they are somewhat watchable. You know, yeah. That sounds stupid, but you know what I mean. They've gotten better. All right, so this is the stage where, although it's not at 100, it just suddenly starts speeding up. All right, I've already installed 2 updates today, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But anyways, all right. Yeah. Again, I know how to get back to my spot. I just sort of wish I would have saved a little further than I did. Yes, I want to. Also, I just realized I'm over 9 hours into the game, so that's like we're getting pretty far in actually. Still a decent chunk of it left, of course, but I've gotten All right, so we're at the cross-examination stage now. If I recall correctly, all we really need to do is go to her statement, press that, present the milk bucket on her statement, and then just go through everything else, and yeah. I only have about 13 minutes left to do this, so yeah. And I'm just gonna skip through all of this because, like, I know it's gonna happen, so there's no point in actually, yeah. You know, one time I think when I was playing the first game, I was on the 3rd case, and what was it? It was Turnabout Samurai, and what happened? Well, I think crap, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, hold on. What did happen? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at making conversation even when no one else is here. But anyways, yeah. What happened was I was at a part of the level. I got pretty far through. I think what? No, I think I made it to like the trailer park thingy or something like that, and I forgot to save, and I ended up at the law office of that day. In other words, the very beginning of that day of the case, which means that about like 20 more minutes of gameplay I just freaking missed out on because I didn't save. So I just had to like speed run through everything that I had already painstakingly done just to continue it. And you know, the thing is that you can't blame the game developers on that part, because it's really your fault if you forget to save. Here, I don't blame the game developer. I blame myself as well as the emulator for shutting down when I'm doing a stream, but, you know, whatever. You can't go back and change the past, so might as well just, you know. If you're given a rusty knife, I mean, it used to be shiny, but all you have right now is a rusty knife, so you just have to make the best of that rusty knife. What I'm trying to say is that if life is horrible, if everything is absolutely garbage, tough luck. You're going to have to work with that. And that sounds horrible, but it's like you can't really expect to go back to the past and get what you originally had, you know, because you just can't. There's no point in sulking about what you used to have. You just have to work with what you have now. And sometimes, no matter what you have now, no matter how terrible it is, you can still make it work. So, I don't really know why I just went into full lecture mode after playing a video game, but, you know, whatever. Alright, I think, yeah, this is about where we ended up last time, so, yep, alright. So this is exactly where we were last time, so I'm going to save this. So if it crashes again, we'll be closer to the, yeah, whatever. It would seem the concept of logic does not exist in this world. Yep. It doesn't exist in my world either. Right. Then let's take this chance to knock their case down a peg or two. I'm worried if we keep this up, we'll all be joining a spell in a one-way trip to the flames. Oh, come on. Is he dabbing? No, that's not a dab. Why did I say that? Alright, most intriguing. A knight allows his sword to speak for him during battle. You have spoken with a sword of words. Yeah. So be it. I too shall wield such a blade. A metal blade? What do you mean? Sir Blue Knight, there appears to be a hole in this logic of yours. A hole? According to the earlier testimony, it was believed that the accused had the lantern hanging from her wrist by the handle. However, she supposedly dropped it, hence it being covered in mud. That's right. Well, that may be true. What do you mean by supposedly? What else would she have done for it to be covered in mud? It does not necessarily mean the accused was therefore unable to use magic. I'm not going to continue with that statement, oh god. It is merely a question of when she dropped the witch's scepter. What do you mean, Inquisitor Barnum? Oh, alright, so essentially what I think he's saying is that she probably just dropped it. And when she was actually holding the milk bucket, she somehow picked it back up and then just held it. Then after she had already used the... I really don't know. I honestly think that he's an idiot. It is very simple, my lord. The accused, while first holding the lantern and the witch's scepter, cast her magic. Then, she dropped both the lantern and the scepter. Huh? The witch's scepter was dropped after the spell was cast? Of course, yes, that must be it. What say you, Sir Blue Knight? I say you're completely nuts. That is but a taste of the knightly knowledge of the Inquisition. Wow, Sir Barnum cut through that baker's witchery like a hot knife through butter. Exemplary. I expect nothing less from the hand of Barnum. Oh, to be able to shake that powerful hand someday. Nothing important, but something I like is how the two main characters from their respective games are standing right next to each other, and the two sidekicks, although you can barely see Luke, unfortunately, are standing right next to each other. I think that's kind of a cute detail because, like, you know, they're both in their own little teams and stuff, and that's I find that, you know, funny. I don't know, it's just a nice detail. That Inquisitor isn't quite what he first appeared. Yeah, sure seems like that way. Just a moment, it seemed like he'd never even heard of a logical debate. Now he's suddenly using it against us. Yeah, the Inquisitor may be a jerk, but he's not an idiot. There are a lot of smart people who are jerks. Yeah. But that's something people get mixed up, is that sometimes your enemies are actually pretty smart. It's, they're just jerks, and so sometimes being a jerk and being dumb are just as bad, you know. Like you can be a genius, but if you act like a jerk to everyone else, I mean, you know, because some people on r/I am very smart may very well actually be smart. They just carry themselves awfully, and they get put on there because they just come off as really stupid, even though they might actually not be stupid. They come off as that, you know, just the way it is sometimes. This guy is no joke, that's for sure. You know, something I've always wanted to do, but also been wary of, is going to r/I am very smart and going to the most controversial post. Like, they might put a quote of like Albert Einstein there or something, you know, because that would be controversial. Putting him on there, it's like, because the whole purpose of the subreddit is to make fun of people who think that they're smart when they're actually idiots. You know, people who have this pseudo-intellectuals, you could say, who have this view of themselves that's way higher than what they actually are. Most of them are just 15-year-olds living in a really trashy bedroom with Fs on every one of their grades. Not that I'm really one to talk, and you know, they're just fed up with society who outcasts them because they act like jerks. You know, it's like, I mean, society outcasting you is terrible, but if it's your fault, then I mean it's your fault, man. Now then, most honorable witnesses, I ask that you lend us your aid once more. I really don't know why I got into that rant when I'm playing a video game. So sometimes I go to a direction to where I really shouldn't be going to. I request that you all testify to the court once more. Tell us which occurred first, the dropping of the lantern or the casting of the spell. My God. Witnesses, you may begin your testimonies. All right. And I think with that, I am going to end this here. It's been fun, and yeah. I think since I haven't done this in a while, tomorrow I may play for maybe 2 or 3 hours opposed to just 1, because you know, I haven't done this in a few days, and I think it figures that I you know, that I you know, play for a little bit more. Yeah. I am really awkward, aren't I? Yep. I am awful. But anyways, that does not matter. What matters is well, not that. That's what matters. That's what matters. Oh my God. All right. I'm gonna stop talking before I say something that potentially career ending, because I'm just saying such stupid stuff to where I could really just say anything right now, and yeah. But anyways, I had fun. I hope you had fun watching me rant about unrelated stuff, and yeah, I'll play this tomorrow for 2-3 hours, and yep. Excelsior.